What is already coded in us and why nature is our best ally? How is that nature became this font of inspiration? Well, my last decade of experience working in human resources for technology allowed me to address human behavior and conduct in those terms with a tech perspective. So part of our conduct is shaped by our parents, our friends, education, and of course, the culture we live in. But also, part of our conduct is shaped by some other traits that we have because of our evolutionary history, like a fingerprint. And that second part of conduct triggered me a question that was, what is pre-installed in us humans? And how does that affect our everyday conduct? Well, of course, we do have free will, but at the same time, we have some inherited traits that were shaped through millions and millions of years of evolution.
And as you can imagine, my comfort zone was not in nature, was in companies. And when I started to study human behavior, organizational behavior, I discovered that there were so many frameworks and theories and type of approach that I decided to go back to the basics, back of our roots, our human roots. And that's where I discover a whole new world for me. And that is how nature became my best ally to analyze this retrospective. So studying the brain, cognitive sciences, of course it helped me, but it was not until primatology that I was able to connect the point to understand human dynamics. And studying primates and great apes, it helped me a lot. It's a super powerful approach. And you know why? Because when you study yourself, humans studying humans, usually you get lack of perspective. When you study primates, you have the perspective of not being the subject and object of study at the same time. So let me share with you some examples. Our ancestral hominids had bigger teeth. Our teeth shrunk with time. And why did that happen? Because over the evolution and the widespread use of fire, we discovered how to cook our food. And that made us have food that was easier to chew and easier to swallow. So then we were able to have smaller teeth without any problem. Then, if you go into the primates, we study primates in two ways: solitarily primates and also primates that they live in groups. And it happens to be that primates that are solitary, they do not have facial expressions. Why? Because just they don't need them. They live most of their time alone and on their own. So why they would need facial expressions? Most of them, they are inexpressive. In us, chimpanzees or humans, we do have facial expressions because we live in social groups, in social complex structures. So we need to enhance our communicational skills with facial expressions to coordinate our actions. So why did we develop these social complex structures? When did it begin? It began as a response of environmental challenges. Everything began with the Ice Age 2.5 million years ago. The climate was harsh, temperature was hostile, and the food was scarce. And of course, predators were more threatening because everybody was looking for food. So the early humans, we decided to bond together. We bond together into groups of 15 to 30 members. And we pool responsibilities, resources, so hunting, gathering, protecting each other to ensure a collective survival. And then after this time, the weather became more warmer. So we shifted into a cold weather into a warmer weather. And this allowed us to develop agriculture skills. And also this allowed to grow our groups. So our groups become larger and larger. And with that, the complexity to coordinate our actions. And what happens when a lot of people, they put together in the same place for a long period of time? Conflicts arise. So yes, conflicts were always there, and they are part of our evolutionary fingerprint. Conflicts aren't a surprise for any species at any time. But look at this. In workplaces, we do something really fascinating because we try to mute conflicts. We struggle to give that feedback. We avoid having that difficult conversation and more. We punish employees trying to voice the conflicts. So I'm not saying to give up on conflicts. Don't get me wrong here. But I'm saying that we should focus in understanding how to manage in a better way the conflicts instead of trying to suppress them. So, in this situation, what is that we have on our favor? What we have in our favor is that the conflicts beyond the threshold, of course, they bring chaos into the system. But below a threshold, the conflicts may allow us to reach new places of creativity and innovation. Before the threshold of chaos, conflicts may bring tension and disagreements. And tension and disagreements change the course of discussions. And that is why they are super nurturing for innovation and creativity. But what happens? These groups that I mentioned before, they started to grow so much that it was difficult to understand who is who and who is doing what. So identity started to be super important for us. And that is why when you start growing more than 150 or 200 in companies, that is called the Dunbar number, we started to need a lot of help to understand who is doing what with organizational charts, job descriptions, and internal maps. So we were there in that society that was growing and growing, and we needed to understand how to interact with each other in a better way. Because imagine this, 99% of our existence as humans has been in small groups. And only in a blink of an eye, only less than 1% of our existence has been living in this such a big civilizations. So of course we're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? But we have in our favor emotions. So emotions can help us to better relate with each other. And I'm saying emotions, and I'm not saying rational thinking. And why? The neocortex, the part of our brain responsible of rational thought, it has 100 to 200,000 thousand years of experience. Whereas the limbic system, that is the one that has more experience. The limbic system, the part of our brain responsible of emotions, it has 200 million years of experience. So the limbic system has been helping us to survive 1,000 times more than our rational neocortex. We should give the emotions a little bit more of credits, right? So what is the role of emotions? Let's see some examples. The fear helped us to analyze if the danger was high or not high, to analyze the danger of predators. Then you have the joy. The joy helps us to enhance the positive emotions, to remember where is that we found a lot of food, where is that we found that place that helped us to survive. It was like a stick to the memory. And then we have another type of emotions like anger. Anger helped us to compete and to protect our territories. And sadness might brought us into a more reflective states. So, well, let's sum up. What are the four microdynamics that in my last years of research I can share with you? What I've learned from nature. First, collaboration. Collaboration is a super important microdynamic. We, we need to get together to achieve more powerful goals. And the size of our groups, it affects the results. So take in mind to design the size of the groups according to the task that you're trying to achieve. Second, conflicts. The conflicts beyond a threshold, the tension and disagreement things, they can help us to achieve more creative and innovation stages. And you know what? Conflicts are there and they are not going away. So we should understand how to managing them better. Then we have identity. Knowing who is who and who is doing what is super important. It might brought us into a cognitive stress to remember who is who in groups more than 200. But we can help ourselves with job descriptions and internal maps. Then we have interactions. We bond to survive. So, knowing our emotions is our best tool to improve our social relations. Okay, so we're in constant coevolution with our environment. Constant coevolution. The environment shapes us with climate, with temperatures, with the size of the groups. But we are also modifying the environment where we live in. And of course, this affects our development, much like in the workplaces, right? So this coevolution is in continuous deployment out there. And nature is our best ally to discover and continue analyzing it. Thank you.